Welcome to the Kai Greene Effect.
This is Kai Greene, and welcome to my show, The Kai Effect. These are my co-hosts, Vlad and Eduardo. Let's jump in.
I'm glad that you have your own podcast because you've done some stuff in the past, but now you're back.
You know what? I feel like I've never really left. Actually, no, that's not true. I feel rusty as hell. We used to have a podcast a long time ago. I felt
it was you and Crystal doing the co-hosting.
That's right. She was a lot cuter than you, buddy. I'm just saying.
It's not what you said on the plane, bro.
Hey, wow. All right. That's okay. You're supposed to keep that secret. Anyway.
So what's happening, Kai? How you doing?
Actually, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited as hell. This is a tremendous opportunity to be able to have this live mic in front of me and wonderful co-hosts here. This awesome experience that we're about to tackle together. That's right, the Kai Effect.
And you guys just both came back from the Arnold Classic. How was that?
I mean, if you want to speak to it first, I thought it was...
The footage I've seen was tremendous.
Yeah.
The people that showed up to see you, how does it feel after all those years, still having a line of people showing up for Kai Greene? Just to shake your hand, take a picture.
You know what? Honestly,
you're a famous guy.
He's kind of a big deal. Very thankful. Very thankful because, there's a lot to be said for being able to be seen or to feel like you've been seen, to feel like to meet people that want to, in their own way, acknowledge something that was a meaningful enough experience for them in light of their experience, a takeaway that they got from a video clip that they may have seen, over the full extent of your career in front of the microphone or online, and decided to come on and say something to you and support the new causes that you represent. I'm always taken back. I always appreciate that.
That's New York.
Yes. And we are live.
Welcome back.
New York. Welcome back.
But I remember back in the day, it was like a line of people waiting to talk to you. And it was like they're waiting for like 2 hours just to see you. And you still took like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to talk to each individual. People were standing there for it. And now you guys have a young company, Pro-M, obviously, right? And now you seeing Kai at the booth talking to those people. How does it make you feel?
Well, it's special for a couple reasons because all the three owners all have our own personal reasons why we're going to make this a success, right? Like we said in one of the posts, it's not just business, it's personal.
That's right.
And for us, this is personal. So seeing that, I've traveled with him for 9-10 years. So I've been to these booths and I've seen the people, and I'm usually the one that sometimes going to be like, hey man, you gotta scoot it along. There's a line around the block, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you want to talk to him, but for us, it's special because, in previous businesses, you get the occasional heckler, rude fans.
Oh, man.
And this one, dude, it was nothing but love.
Positivity,
The booth was nothing but love. Everybody's like, proud of you guys, so happy. We know it's going to be a success. It was a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gotten a tremendous response since launching Pro-M. This was our official inaugural launch of the brand. And it was amazing to be able to do this at the Arnold Classic weekend. We had so many fans and friends from the years that came out to support you today or this weekend. Some that you hadn't seen in maybe as much as 10 years. Hey, they should come up to the booth with their phone out and ready to try to show you, scrolling back, to an old photo from you wearing an old red hoodie or red
those days
tracksuit, repping another brand, a brand that wasn't mine. You know what I mean?
And that was yours.
And they were there.
Since we're talking about Arnold Classic, I got to ask you a question.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I've heard this story about you from different sources, but since we're on the topic of Arnold Classic.
Yes, let's do it.
But I think it's a true story because I heard it directly from the Lorimer family, the ones that obviously own the Arnold Classic, right?
Oh.
They told me a story that when you first won your Arnold Classic in 2009, I believe, they gave you a check for $75,000. And a month goes by and they're looking at their accounting and like, why is this check not cashed? Another month goes by and it's still not cashed. They had to literally call you and tell you, Kai, cash your check. Is that true? Did that happen?
Wow, that's awesome. I don't know. I have to check with my lawyer before I say. I'm just gonna say something real quick. There's a lot of people that'll say a lot of things.
But the lawyer said it. I mean,
you know what? I would first want to check with my lawyer because I want to avoid liability.
Call your accountant.
That accountant ain't even in the picture.
No, that's a long time
You got
ago.
a lot of thieves in this game. A lot of thieves.
I always wanted to ask you that question because I heard this story from multiple people. I'm like, why Kai wouldn't cash that check?
Maybe it's still sitting there.
You know what? If it was, shame on me. Shame on me. Actually, I there was another time in my career when I was more focused on just trying to improve my game. I was more focused on, trying to be the best athlete. I wanted to be the best athlete. And I think the only way I saw to do it was to try to focus on being about that business, doing that, stay on the top of my meals, stay on the top of my training, every rep, every set. It was all
you would think you had to buy some food, right? You need the money to cash the check.
Well,
once in a while.
Have you heard that story from people before?
I have not. This is the first time I've ever heard that.
I heard from multiple people.
Yeah,
it almost sounds crazy, honestly. Free money. No, it wasn't free.
So when you were at Arnold Classic, how many times people asked you there, when are you coming back to the stage? Was that question being asked a lot there?
You mean this weekend?
Yeah.
All day.
Oh,
all day, right?
It's one of those things that I know is a very touchy subject because it's been a touchy subject for me for a very long time. There's something to be said when you get off the stage and you can say it's done. And for a short time, you may even be relieved that it's done. Even if the outcome didn't go in your favor, there's a part of you that does feel affected by the process. And there's a wear and tear that I think is something that a feeling that you just cannot get away from. And even the most focused and devout athlete, that loves the grind and the work involved with getting ready to compete. Yeah, at some point, we do reach your saturation point, and it is a relief to have the decision, whatever it is, and to be on the other side, to be able to consider yourself on the other side of that process, and count it a success because you have been able to start, work through it, get over the difficult challenges that came up during the process, and then reach the end. And the conclusion is what it was. So there's a part of you that I think is very relieved and comforted with knowing, okay, we've done that. And if that was, let's say, the last show that you were working on, for a short time, it may be, okay, I'm satisfied.
And that's the kind of answer you gave them at the expo?
If I were at the expo and I saw the people that asked, hey man, are you doing a comeback?
Maybe
there's a part of you that didn't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? It didn't really go anywhere. You didn't say
you won 3 last shows you did at the Arnold. Back to back.
The first person to do it, as a matter of fact. There was a time when they were actually doing an Arnold Classic, one on every continent. I think that was the first time that there were going to be multiple Arnold Classics held in a single year.
That was amazing.
And it was a very interesting challenge to say, okay, well, I'm going to do.
You peaked
these
times.
3. Yes.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I'd never done that before.
As a matter of fact, you battled Cedric McMillan on one of them.
God bless Cedric McMillan. Damn. Yeah, there's a.
Eduardo, what do you think? You want Kai to, as a partner in the business now, right? What do you think?
Well,
you want him to see him on stage?
You take it out of just a partner in the business, a bodybuilding fan. Of course.
Right.
Who wouldn't? Well, you can't. It'd be like telling somebody, "Hey, I don't want The Rock to wrestle one more time." Of course, you want to see it.
That's a
kidding?
good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be great for the new company, for Kai Greene? Do you think it matters?
I mean, if talk about putting a spotlight on something, right? I mean, the ultimate spotlight, right? Yeah. Even and take it a step further, if you said the company, the industry. I mean, what bigger headline would that be? Like, oh, he's coming back.
It'd be a huge headline, and especially if you battle Phil Heath. That'd be even bigger, I think.
You don't want that
Phil
smoke.
don't want no smoke.
You don't want that smoke, bro.
You don't want no parts.
Why, you guys asked?
Huh?
Did you ask him? Or
what would I ask? I mean,
I've seen a little back and forth you on social media with Phil.
It's coach you.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a good one.
I mean, I think he was just being kind, funny, because Philip is a great personality.
But can you imagine that though? You going against him? Doesn't matter what venue. It can be any venue in the world. It doesn't matter. Olympia, Masters, regular Olympia, Tampa Pro. Doesn't matter, right?
Well, they talked about. I think originally the Masters Mr. Olympia was the idea that was offered to kind of settle scores like that. I think the original Masters Olympia was designed to give Lou Ferrigno an opportunity.
Yes, and Robbie Robinson beat him.
And who would have thought that Robbie Robinson would have came out of the blue? Because technically, I think Robbie Robinson at the time was off the radar. He
was. He living in Europe. Yeah.
And Lou Ferrigno was like, honestly, he was at an all-time best. It was as if that show was an opportunity for Lou Ferrigno to just come
absolutely
and get
get his
Mr. Olympia shot and title and recognized officially as, you know what, this is your flowers. This is it. And I think for saying that, we got a chance to see a version of Lou Ferrigno unlike anything that we thought was his best prior. He was better than ever. He was bigger. He was harder.
You ever met Lou Ferrigno in person?
Huh?
You ever met Lou Ferrigno in person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he nice to you?
Lou Ferrigno has always been nice to me.
There's always stories about Lou Ferrigno.
What? Like what?
Oh man, you guys never heard those stories?
Like what? Tell me a story.
I've heard a few. Yeah.
What have you heard?
A little tough. Like you go up and get a picture. He's like, "Hey man, you got to pay $25 or whatever it is." Like you know how people stop you like we're walking to the bathroom, like, "Oh, quick selfie." You're like, "Yeah, man, $20."
But that was Lou Ferrigno. See, here's something that's really interesting about all of that, because Lou Ferrigno went to a whole other world of celebrity, and the dude became an iconic.
No, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Television alone, you touch like the lives of every young man and woman.
To this day, you say Incredible Hulk, people think Lou Ferrigno. They don't think the new Marvel movie.
And no, he wants to be compensated with the fees.
Yeah, he was not your typical no-name athlete that was still aspiring to try to get somewhere. He actually did climb to a very high level of popularity and star that did deserve to be recognized as he was just expecting it to. So if you said what you just said, he never charged me for his photograph.
Good,
or his,
good.
His
should charge him.
At this point. Yeah.
Has anyone seen Lou Ferrigno recently?
But I think you know why he was, because he used to go to a lot of Comic Cons.
Yes.
The Comic Con, there was these stands, right?
Uh-huh.
And basically you charge for the photography for the fans. And I think in his mindset, he kind of wanted to take that in every aspect.
It didn't catch on as quickly in
in our industry. In our industry, they just started doing this whole $65 for a picture with Jay Cutler at the Arnold.
I heard about that. So how much money do you think they made with it?
I would imagine a lot, because I mean,
I'd have stood online and paid $65 to take a picture. I'd have done that
back in the day. Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course. But I think if you look at it, right, you could either go to a booth like Young LA, right, that had a line like out the door, or like ours with him. and sit there, or can I pay $65 for Fast Pass where I could just be like, hey, I'm at Jay, get your picture and move on, right? Yeah. Enjoy the expo. Because some of these people were standing for hours.
Yeah. Your booth was very impressive, by the way. Pro-Am booth.
Yeah, it wasn't. Wow. I think it was. I'm very excited about it my damn self. I wish I could take credit for it.
You guys put it together relatively fast.
Yeah. This all came together within like 3 months.
It sounds like that, but the truth is, you know what? We want to make it look like that. And if we could say that like that publicly, then, but trust, behind the scenes, there is a lot of work that goes into the process of getting ready for that. If somebody would have said 2 months, 3 months,
right,
a year before we actually got to that Arnold Classic and actually materialized having the booth, the selections made for the design, having the manpower to help us cover it, and make things look smooth. Book flights, arrange having product.
It's a lot that goes into it.
I gained like 10 more gray hairs.
Eduardo, speaking of you are industry veteran. You worked for some major companies before this one. So you have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
How do you succeed these days in supplements? Obviously, besides having Kai on your team, right? But how do you succeed in this business where it's so highly saturated?
I think it's understanding your audience and never forgetting your core audience. And that's what happens to a lot of brands is you start out as one thing and you end up as another. Whether it's, we started out being hardcore bodybuilding, but now we want to be a little more mainstream. So now we're going to, fluff up the labels and so we can get into Target.
Energy.
Yeah.
Energy.
But then you lose.
Everybody doing energy drinks.
Yeah. But then you lose that dude that was in the gym. I was like, oh man, I used to relate to you.
So you're a hardcore brand, right?
We're bodybuilding centric, that, and we never, old school bodybuilding,
old school with new school science.
Exactly. So that's the motto of the brand: is old school values, new school science, new school formulas, right? So we want to have that grit of the old school, and there was a specific reason why we picked like Angelica, who was retiring this weekend.
Yes, Angelica.
Did you see that though?
Yeah. And because and with our values too, like I'm a family man, I got kids. Rico, our other partner, family man with kids. Kai's in this stage of his life where he's,
I'm working on it.
He's working.
I'm available. I'm ready. And you know who you are. I'm talking right to you.
Thinking of doing a dating show?
Yes. No. She know who she is. She knows who she is.
She knows who she is.
You know who you are.
We're planning a double date.
You very soon.
We're planning a double date. So
I'm ready. No, I'm just kidding.
So we're at that stage of our lives now where that was a very specific reason why we picked Angelica as the female face. She's had 2 kids. She's 40. Admittedly, she was talking about it openly and will tell you, look, you can look like this after 2 kids back to back.
That is amazing.
And be 40 and still be okay.
See her midsection? It's crazy.
It's crazy. But that's an old school mentality where like she still trains her ass off, still diets.
She's great.
I've known him for 9-10 years. I've never seen him eat anything bad.
Oh.
Ever.
You know who you are.
Food wise.
I'm just kidding.
So again, but that's his mentality. That's old school, man. He's like, he doesn't stray from the plan. Like anywhere we are, chicken and rice, eggs, the dried toast, what have you, right? The sparkling water, all that stuff. So, but that's that old mentality where like Dorian, where he was a monk, right? And he was doing it like this over and over and over.
You guys should sign Dorian to the team.
Shout out to King Dorian. Yes.
But and that was the mentality we took into this is look, we're gonna be bodybuilding centric, old school, and we're not gonna negate our core audience because once you carve out your space, you don't need to be everything for everybody.
That's a good
point. You
don't
have to.
That's a good point.
You don't have to. You can be a very successful brand, not be the $5 billion brand that, whatever, but you can be an extremely successful brand with your audience because there are other people that will come into your audience. It keeps feeding itself. At the booth with him, for example, there were little kids that came up to meet Kai Greene. They never seen him compete. They're 5 years old.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But
that's right.
But somebody like him transcends just, he competed in 2016 was the last time. There's little kids that are 5 that are, oh my God, I want to meet Kai Greene. Because now the age of social media, YouTube, me like a dad like me, I've introduced my son to Jay Cutler.
Right.
So my son's favorite bodybuilders, Jay Cutler, Kai Greene, Ronnie Coleman. It's not, the new guys, because that's what I grew up with.
Speaking of the new guys, what do you guys think about Sam Sulek's success in the industry? People want to know what you have to say about him because he's been on a crazy run, right? Just got his pro card. Competed twice.
What? Shout out to Sam Sulek, because technically he's not only established himself as his own brand and developing businessman, but in line with developing himself as an athlete and working to see that grow, just getting his pro card just recently, that's a very big accomplishment. I know back in the day for me, getting a pro card was one of those things that were thought of as being seemingly impossible.
Yeah.
You know,
there was less pro cards back then, completely.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely
it's not the same. It's not the same sport, you know?
But it still is a tremendous marker of success, to your credit, when you are able to make that step from amateur ranks to turning pro. Well, there you go.
Especially winning
amateurs and pro alike. That's right. We for everybody.
Especially for him winning it out of the Arnold Amateur. It's not like he went to some rinky-dinky show somewhere in the middle of the country that had 3 guys in his class. You know, he did it. He did it on a big stage
with a lot of pressure on him. And going forward, the pressure doesn't get easier. And because, you know, if I were to be as honest as I can, I think he's at a significant disadvantage.
Really?
Yes, because technically he does not have the luxury of being able to go through the growing pains of learning his physique and developing new strides into how he becomes his best. Mm-hmm. And his best is still yet to come, regardless of whatever, you know, monumental success we can say, you know, has to be associated with making this giant jump from amateur to the pro ranks, which is a very big thing to accomplish. Mm-hmm. But make no mistake about it, it is not an easy thing to do. And the stakes only get very high for him, even now. Because now he's still in the spotlight. The spotlight becomes even more intense. He's going to have to go.
A lot of judgment on him, right?
The judgment will be, and he will have to stand against more
tough professionals at this point.
Yeah, there'll be tougher competition.
The other part is too, what is his best friend that has made him so successful? Social media will now pick him apart.
But they already are.
Do you guys know who's coaching? Who's coaching him? Do you guys know? Or no?
I don't know who's coaching him.
I was wondering.
It's not an easy thing to do, to fall on your face publicly. And one of the difficult challenges with that is to still kind of develop your own tough skin and resilience, you know, while you are being picked apart. And you still have the responsibility of showing face every day. Whereas like back in the day with competitive bodybuilding, you know, you can get in shape, make your mistakes, be what you are, and then you had the opportunity to step away from the spotlight, go back to your jungle or dungeon or wherever the hell you got your business done, and you are allowed to do it, you know, in the privacy of your own comfort zone. But because of the change in the day and time that we live in right now, and the opportunity to be seen, and you know, the expectation to allow yourself to be seen so much with social media, it becomes a pressure to always be on point all the time, with very little room to hide away and make your mistakes in the comfort of your own comfort zone. So I think it's a very big challenge that not everyone can handle very well. And this is still a young man. You know,
he's only 23.
It's crazy. It's like the challenge is, you know, like I said, I believe it's a significant cross to bear. But he seems to be up for it, and he's already doing so well. I, for one, would definitely want to encourage him. And I'd be very curious to see, you know, just how he does, you know, going forward, because it's not going to get easier.
Right.
You know, it's not going to get easier. And you want to see him do well, you know, and he's off to a great start.
It seems like these days, remember how when I first met you in 2012, right? There was pro bodybuilders like Ruli Winkler, Dennis Wolf.
Yes.
But now it's like those guys are kind of like already retired, semi-retired, right?
But they still have value.
They have value, but now you have these new guys, the Trent twins, and you have the Sam Suleks, and the industry is growing and growing and growing. And now, when you're promoting your brand, you're competing against them. You might not want to admit that you're competing against them, but you are competing against them. Because people are not going to go to the store and buy every single pre-workout, right?
Sure.
They're going to choose it. I'm going to get Pro-Am, or I'm going to get...
But the people that follow the Trent twins aren't going to be the people that like, oh, I like Victor Martinez.
Exactly.
Or that
Exactly. So you got to dominate your...
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about your core audience, right? Like the people... I know the people that love Chris Bumstead probably not going to buy this brand because they're going to be loyal to Chris Bumstead. And that just is what it is, right? Until there's a new cool guy, new shiny new toy, right? Which will it be Sam? Will it be whoever? But that happens, right? And that's why, you know, I've always, you know, and they're doing great. So Raw, Bum, they're doing amazing.
Sure.
But it is a scary undertaking to build a brand with the person's name on it. Because after that, then, okay, so that guy's not cool anymore. Now what do we do?
Right? But Kai, he used to the test of time. Think about it, right? He's been doing this for quite a few years
a long
now.
time, a long time.
Are you calling me old?
No, I'm just saying that you were able to overcome year after year and still generate a line of people to see you at Arnold.
Because he stayed out on the road. You know, like you'll see Kai at expos. You'll be traveling the world. There's some that just like hide out. They're like, I don't understand why I'm not relevant anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I
stayed home, brother.
I think it's very it's important to reinvest in controlling your own narrative. I think sometimes the comfort zone has to be developed in the willingness to do the work. Like I'm comfortable doing that work. I'm comfortable staying on my diet. You know, I'm comfortable,
you're comfortable being uncomfortable.
Well, but that's the thing.
Are you uncomfortable? Is this lifestyle, like you said, like always on a diet, is this comfortable for you or uncomfortable?
I think it is. It's a lot more comfortable now than if I were
competing.
You know, well, competing is a different thing. It is a different thing. I think the better part of, I think every athlete that aspires to see what their best is, end up making certain levels of their everyday work ethic high. So even when it comes to, okay, if I'm stepping down from, well, I'm not getting ready to compete here, but you know what? Guess what? I'm still having 4 or 5 meals a day. I'm still eating every 2 to 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. And that's my standard. That's like, my point of comfort. And I'm very comfortable with working within that. I think, I remember at another time in my life, I used to love ice cream.
Really?
Oh, not anymore?
I used to love ice cream. I remember another time in my life, I used to talk devotional stories to ice cream. Like I would could write a soliloquy. Ice cream to ice cream, ice cream. I love thee. Ice cream. Do you love me? Ice cream. Ice cream was awesome. But I remember I had an opportunity to compete in an organization that was pro. It was great. It was an organization that featured a lot of athletes that had been training longer than I'd been alive. I was a teenager. There was a guy named Mike McLeod, an amazing athlete. He was probably in his 50s, right? At the time that I was competing with him. He was known for coming into these competitions with like this most amazing condition. He was probably one of the most conditioned athletes at that time in my career that I'd ever gotten a chance to compete against. He had veins that were as thick as my pinky, and they ran through parts of his serratus and external obliques, places that I could never see anything of the equivalent on my physique. It was just like
some big veins. Wow.
Mike McLeod was awesome, man. He was a seasoned veteran in this game. Getting ready for the competition, I remember I was competing in in Mr. World. I think it was a Mr. World, and I was afraid of competing against this guy because he was an older man, and he was just such an esteemed veteran with how he approached his process of prep. His skin was like this tissue paper thin. It was a level of conditioning that I'd not ever reached in my career yet, and I wanted that. But I was addicted to ice cream. I was so addicted to ice cream, and it was so hard to change from the deep off season to contest prep. because it meant that I had to say no to ice cream, and ice cream was my love. Ice cream. Did I tell you?
I had no idea about this before.
I've never heard about your
conversation
about ice cream.
I met Mike McLeod at the competition, and he was amazing. He was more inspiring than I'd ever remembered him to be. To see him on stage, to see him backstage, he was a damn good athlete. He was amazing. When I saw him, I had to pay the credit to him. I said, Mr. McLeod, I respect your work. It was great competition. I really want to have your condition one day. And he was like, okay, great. All right, young man, keep it moving. And just then, I saw him have this little thing of
ice cream.
Ice cream. It was tiny. It was about yeah. So we're gonna leave that alone. And then he had a really small spoon. It was a spoon that was so tiny, and I remember seeing it and going, "Wow, this is laughable." I began to laugh, and I was like, I could never eat anything like that because I am addicted to ice cream. Did I tell you that I am addicted to ice cream? I love you. Right. But just then he said, yeah, but this is all I'm going to have. And I'm going to be right back on my diet. And I'm going to see you next year. And I remember thinking like, oh, okay. Well, because when I eat ice cream, I can't have just that much. I need a half a gallon. It becomes a gallon. And 2 days later, I've just totally binged. I'm like, I love ice cream. And he said, yeah, but you also haven't gotten the condition that I've gotten into yet.
Gut shot.
Yeah. That was it. I knew at that time in my life, if I were going to be ready to face Mike McLeod again the next year, I needed to be able to be better. And I can't be walking around saying that I'm addicted to ice cream or to say that food has me so weak
you didn't earn that
I can't do what I know that I need to do. It was like, wait, I got to be in control of me.
And it cured your addiction.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Because I wasn't addicted. I was addicted because I said I was addicted.
Did you go cold turkey on the ice cream?
I haven't had ice cream since. That's right. Thank you, Mike McLeod.
The name of this first episode of Kai Greene Effect is going to be Kai Greene Opens Up About His Addiction.
Oh, no. Kai Greene's addiction.
Wow. I think we had a great first episode. What do you guys think? You guys feel comfortable? You guys feel good?
Yeah, the report's good.
So before we wrap, Kai, one thing. Yes or no question, right? So I know we spoke about it already at length, but in 2025, is there a possibility that you will step back on the stage?
Oh, yeah, it's more than a possibility of being on stage. Absolutely. And you can take that to the bank, especially after you and I get to it, because we going to do what we do. You know what it is. I'm waiting for you on the night, girl.
This woman needs to get here now.
Yes, we waiting.
Now, I'm scared.
We already ordered her.
I'm scared. Don't bring ice cream. Whatever you do, don't bring ice cream.
All right, y'all. So if you're listening, you're tuning in to the Kai Greene Effect. We are here. I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts. I got my boy Eduardo. I got my boy Vlad Uden. And we just started something that we're going to continue. So if you're ready and you want to get a little bit more, make sure you come on back and check me out at the Kai Greene Effect.